Pin it your best moments now when you download our updated News 6 app. Live from clickorlando.com, this is News 6 at 4:30 a.m. This is a News 6 Plus takeover. Here now is Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells with Talk to Tom.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Talk to Tom. I am Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrells. Thank you for tuning in.
People sometimes aren't as sensitive. I trust Channel 6. You're the only news reporter I allowed into our home.
At News 6, we're getting results every day, and we know there are Central Floridians doing the same. That's why we created the Getting Results Awards. Every Thursday, we spotlight those going above and beyond to make our community better.
You are this week's Getting Results Award winner, my friend.
Go to clickorlando.com and nominate someone you think should be recognized. The Getting Results Awards every Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on News 6, sponsored by D5 Implant Solution Centers.
Good morning. I'm Troy Bridges at 4:41 in the morning, live with you as we pinpoint that risk of severe weather. Here we go again. We're under another risk that's elevated. Now, it's not the enhanced risk that we saw yesterday. We were on a scale between 1 and 5 up to a 3. Today, we're up to a 2 on that scale between 1 and 5 from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, that could be upgraded a little later on, but where you're seeing that yellow shading, that's along I-75 off to the east, I-4 off to the east, all the way to the coast, and that does mean we have the threat for strong wind, lightning, heavy rain, and yes, once again, hail. That hail, a real concern. We had it yesterday and the day before. More on all of these severe risks and the timing at 5.
Sign up to be an insider.
Insiders.
What does it mean to be an insider? Join thousands of others in this unique community to gain access to all kinds of exclusive content, like extended interviews, behind-the-scenes looks, and bloopers. Plus, enter contests, get exciting deals, and more.
100% shocked. She called me. I was like, what? Are you serious? What did I win?
It's just a great way to know a little bit more beyond the newscast.
Sign up to be a News 6 insider at clickorlando.com/insider. Sponsored by the Orange County Library System.
Ahead on News 6 Mornings, another round of storms likely headed our way. Meteorologist Troy Bridges pinpointing the timeline, and that comes after large hail fell again in parts of Central Florida. We're live with a look at the damage near our coast. Plus, Disney suing the governor. The reason the company is giving for filing suit, setting the stage for a big showdown.
Live with clickorlando.com and streaming on News 6 Plus. This is News 6 Mornings at 5. Getting results.
My street is a river of ice.
River of ice. Powerful storms again bringing large hail to our area and leaving damage behind. We're live in one of the hardest hit neighborhoods as we pinpoint the threat for more severe storms today.
Plus, the state now facing a lawsuit in its battle with Disney, why the company is taking the governor and his newly appointed oversight board to court.
And SpaceX set to try again tonight to get a powerful rocket off the ground. What's on board the Falcon Heavy and why people on the coast may hear sonic booms minutes after liftoff. But we start with the timeline for the next round of storms. Good Thursday morning to Central Florida. The time now 5 a.m. I'm Justin Wormuth.
I'm Crystal Moyer. Thanks for waking up with us.
I'm Bridget Ellison. Trooper Steve is watching your roads, and meteorologist Troy Bridges has your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Yeah, no sonic booms because no rockets are going off today. Not going to happen because we're going to have to deal with the storms much like yesterday, and they're going to linger late tonight because we're going to be dealing with the same setup, and then on top of that, we've got another front coming in. That's going to come in around 11 tonight. So you guys, it is not letting up. We're going to be dealing with rain, wind, lightning, and hail again through the afternoon today. Today, even a later start, so we have a longer period of time to get out and get stuff done. So if you didn't get stuff done yesterday, today you'll have a little bit more time. Here you go as we show you the satellite and radar imagery. There's a little impulse of moisture and energy in the Gulf of Mexico. This will eventually move in, but today it really is all about the west coast sea breeze pushing in and interacting with the east coast sea breeze. So today we have on a scale between 1 and 5, a number 2. We're up to a 2 on that scale, not a 3 like yesterday. But remember, yesterday we got that enhanced upgrade just before the 9 a.m. newscast. So that could happen again, and that was based on the risk for hail. And guess what happened? We got the hail, didn't we? There's a chance we'll see it again. So everywhere you see this yellow shading, that's going to be that elevated risk on a scale between 1 and 5 up to a 2. And that means we do have that elevated chance for strong wind, lightning, heavy rain, and hail through the afternoon. You ask when? This is going to be after 3 p.m. today on into 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon. So here's future radar as we step you through it. Noon, looking good and dry. 3 p.m., just beginning to see the bubbling up of showers and storms. By 4 o'clock, it's more widespread. And certainly by 5, 6 o'clock, boom, look at that. Along I-4, pushing to the coast. We'll show you more details on that risk and how long it lingers. But first, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. This is I-4 at mile marker 100. This puts us out around the I-4 State Road 46 area. So right now, I-4 east and westbound looking pretty good this morning in the Seminole County area. Now, there is construction up at 46, so just make sure you're paying attention, but all your lanes are currently open. Pine Hills, good morning to you. West State Road 50, 408, Hiawassee Powers. Not tracking anything. I do have a minor crash, though, here at Orange Blossom Trail at Oak Ridge. Be careful this morning. And then further south, that construction is still active this morning at Orange Blossom Trail and State Road 417. This is out by the Hunters Creek area. Your north and southbound lanes are shut down underneath the overpass here, and you're being detoured there on Town Center. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Steve. As Troy's been telling us, strong storms could cause problems in Central Florida for a 4th straight day. And this morning, we're getting a closer look at large hail coming down yesterday in Brevard County, just part of the latest round of severe weather to hit our area. Mark Lehman is live in Melbourne right now. And Mark, the storm caused some damage.
Yeah, we're in a mobile home community right now where there were reports of roofs lost, along with a carport and shed destroyed. A lot of areas were hit hard by Wednesday's storm. This as several spots were seeing damage in southern Brevard County. Also in West Melbourne, we saw residents working to clear down trees in a mobile home park off O'Galley Boulevard. Hours later, we also spotted crews responding to a furniture store where there were reports of roof damage. Now, thankfully, there were no reports of injuries from yesterday's storm. As for the damage, assessments will likely be happening throughout the day. We'll be watching for that as the cleanup gets underway this morning. For now, reporting live in Brevard County, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
Thank you, Mark. And if you want a good idea of just how much hail came down, take a look at this. This is the courtyard at Central Middle School in West Melbourne. It looks more like you'd seen up north after a few inches of snow. But don't worry, parents. The school posted that there's no anticipated snow day. And it wasn't just Brevard County. We're waiting to find out if anyone was hurt after storms caused damage at a mobile home park in Marion County. This was the scene last night at the Arrowhead campsites and mobile home park right near I-75 and US 27. We saw trees down on at least 2 campers, and initially several crews were dispatched over worries people may have been trapped. As soon as we get any updates from authorities, we will let you know. Now, many of you sent us your own video of yesterday's wild weather. We'll have that part of the story ahead at 5:30. And as Troy's been telling us, our threat for severe storms continues today. So now is the time to make sure you have the Pinpoint Weather app on your phone. We'll send out alerts anytime severe weather moves into your location. You can also check live radar anytime. Just search WKMG in your app store to download the app for free.
Now to major developments in the battle between Disney and Governor DeSantis. Central Florida's largest employer now suing the state, along with a new board appointed to oversee Disney's special district, setting the stage for a high-profile legal battle. Ezzy Castro has been following the developments and joins us live from Disney this morning. Ezzy, the company says the governor's recent moves are purely political.
Yeah, so Disney officials claim that this is all part of campaign of retaliation, and they also claim that the state's actions is threatening business operations. Now, this lawsuit was actually filed just minutes after the new board met for a special meeting yesterday. Several Florida senators actually expressed their opinions about the lawsuit against the governor. We're going to hear from them coming up in my next report at 5:30. For now, live outside Walt Disney World, Ezzy Castro, Getting Results, News 6.
Ezzy, thanks. Nearly 4 years after a Lake County woman's shooting death, investigators now say her boyfriend was the killer. The sheriff's office arrested Jude Alexander yesterday. Deputies say he shot the victim in a driveway off Rising Star Drive near Claremont in September 2019. Alexander faces a first-degree murder charge and is being held without bond.
In just hours, the Flagler County community will come together honoring this 23-year-old killed in a crash troopers say was caused by a 15-year-old. Christian Romero died early Sunday after the car he was driving was hit by a stolen SUV on Dean Road at the 408 in Orange County. The Highway Patrol says the 15-year-old driver and 5 other teens ran a red light just before the crash. Romero's mom and sister sharing their grief yesterday.
We're upset and we're hurt. Why did you not know where your children were? Why did your children have access to a car at 15 years old at 4:30 in the morning?
Tonight's vigil starts at 6 o'clock at the family's restaurant, Tuscany by the Sea off A1A in Flagler Beach.
In Troy, of course, we got to get straight to weather here. Some describing it as snow, but not snow yesterday.
No, not at all. We had temperatures in the 80s on the ground. We're talking about high in the upper levels of the atmosphere, temperatures below freezing, the freezing level. And so when you have that lift in the atmosphere, it raises those little particles of moisture back up into the atmosphere where it's cold. It freezes, it gets heavy, it drops, then it gets another layer of moisture around it, then it's lifted back up, refreezes. That happens over and over again until it's too big and too heavy to stay up. And so then it falls to the ground as a large hailstone. We have another risk of that through the day. So let's break down the timing with the future radar here. Now, coming up, we'll talk more about that risk of severe weather, how strong these storms will be, and how likely we are to see hail again. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. His Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive on a Thursday. Soon we'll be done with these storms.
Oh, please.
Please.
Let's go.
Lord.
I did turn my sprinkler off this morning. I heard it kick off at like 2:45. Ran outside, click.
You don't need that.
No, so make sure you guys shutting that stuff off. Let's conserve some of this water out there because we're going to get a lot of it. I-446A out in Seminole, just west of Reinhardt here. So your main lines, east and westbound, they're open, but you can see there is construction out here, so I need you guys to be very careful. Your entrance ramp to eastbound I-4 from H.E. Thomas is still closed. Excuse me, I just had a Snickers bar. And then there is a ramp that is also closed towards the 417 out there. They should be opening this up within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. 512 coming up, keeping up with record volume at Port Canaveral.
The price tag for a proposed expansion of cruise terminals and how soon it could happen.
But first, a major step in the debate over the nation's debt ceiling. The bill Republicans are pushing forward and why Democrats say it will not reach the president's desk. You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results on your Thursday. We'll be right back.
Get the latest news, weather, and more from the News 6 Plus streaming app. Download the News 6 Plus app from the Fire TV app store today. Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
A big move by Republicans in the U.S. House. They have passed a bill to raise the nation's borrowing limit, but Democrats are warning it is dead on arrival in the Senate.
Now to a tug of war between a gator and wildlife handlers in the middle of a neighborhood. Take a look. A homeowner in the Villages shared this video showing the struggle in the driveway. Ooh. People living nearby say it wasn't the first time they saw this gator roaming. And this is showing as a reminder. It is gator mating season.
When will it end?
Typically lasts until the summer.
My all-time favorite video is the one with the guy with the trash can.
Oh, yeah, and he gets it in there, and he's wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
That's a theme, the flip-flops, you know?
Yeah.
Tough guys out there who can handle a gator in flip-flops. Yeah. But that right there, woo, you can see that death roll. That's scary stuff. They do that to you underwater. Well, today we are going to be pinpointing rain and, yes, the risk of those strong storms that will produce hail. Once again, now the timing for this is a little different than yesterday. It's a little bit of a later onset, mainly after 3 p.m. ongoing through 11 o'clock tonight. Now, here we're talking about severe threats. And yesterday we had that elevated threat, that enhanced threat. On a scale between 1 and 5, we were up to a 3 yesterday, which was fairly high. In fact, an enhanced risk is not something we see very often across Central Florida. Today, at least for now, we're under a slight risk, which means a 2 on a scale between 1 and 5. I hate that they use the word slight because that makes people think it's not a big deal. Anytime we have the word yellow, the word slight, we show yellow on the screen, let me go ahead and say we're going to have some big storms, and that's the story here today. Everywhere you see the yellow here, that's going to be under that slight risk or that 2 on a scale between 1 and 5. That's why we started this 1 and 5 scale instead of necessarily saying the words slight, because that just sounded like it wasn't a big big deal. Let me just say it is. And yesterday they enhanced it, going to a 3 on the scale between 1 and 5 around 9 a.m. So we can't rule that out either, that they'll upgrade this to a 3 on that scale. Now, when I say they, this is from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. These are the folks who issue the risk for severe storms for the entire country. This is a whole team of folks. So right along I-4 and just west of I-4 all the way to the east is where we're going to see that chance for that elevated risk of storms, where we had that 2 on a scale between 1 and 5. Here's a look at the pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your weather forecast is sponsored by Fairwinds.
The coverage of rain, 60%, and a high today in the mid-80s. Here is your 7-day forecast. As we get results, you'll see rain chances high on through the weekend, up to 60% Saturday. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. As Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Things not too bad out here this morning, but like Troy's giving you the heads up, as the rest of the weather team comes in later on today, do expect that stuff as you're commuting later on this afternoon. But right now, I-4 east and westbound out in Seminole County running smooth. However, a lot of ramp work taking place there. They should have this wrapped up hopefully and completely clear by 6 a.m. They're really good out here in Seminole at making sure things are opened up on time. Down in OBT and Oak Ridge, this earlier crash I mentioned, they cleared it out. Don't have to worry about it anymore. But OBT is still closed in the Hunters Creek area under 417. If you're headed south along Orange Blossom Trail, passing Gatorland right there as you make your way towards Osceola Parkway, no issues. And then Kissimmee and St. Cloud east and westbound on 192, no issues. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Steve. President Biden answering questions about his future.
At the bottom of the hour, his message to voters concerned about his age as he plans to seek re-election.
First, though, a surge in complaints from airline travelers. The top issue and which airlines ranked the worst. Up next.
You did more than get results. You have brought joy back in my life.
And I hope that you can touch everybody like you touched me and my family.
Introducing the power of pinpoint Doppler radar, the future in weather detection, keeping you ahead of severe weather. Get a 3D view from inside the storm's path with high-resolution monitoring and rotation detection. Scanning up to 4 times faster than others. Minute-by-minute rainfall prediction and lightning intensity. Tracking storms street by street and now by landmarks from your town. When you're looking for the best weather tracking available, trust the Pinpoint Weather Team with Pinpoint Doppler radar. Only on News 6. Getting results.
Still to come, a local district coming close to choosing its next superintendent.
What's next for the finalists just hours from now?
Plus, another round of hail falling in Central Florida. We're live with the latest damage and when even more storms could come our way.
And Disney officially suing the governor, what the company's lawsuit claims and how state officials are responding.
Get the latest news, weather, entertainment, sports, and more from the News 6 Plus streaming app. Download today. See all the greatest rounds from some of the best tours with some of the biggest names in golf right here on WKMG News 6. Sponsored in part by Ocean Bank. We're new to town, not to business. Live, this is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
Wild weather strikes again with hail pelting homes, cars, and businesses, and we could have more on the way today. Troy's Pinpoint accurate forecast is straight ahead.
Plus, a new twist in the ongoing dispute between Governor DeSantis and Disney, the theme park company now suing the state, what they are alleging after speaking out against a controversial law.
A local school district gets closer to picking a new leader. The interview set for today as Brevard County searches for a superintendent. Good morning, Central Florida. It's 5:30. I'm Bridget Ellison.
I'm Crystal Moyer. Thanks for staying with us on this Thursday.
I'm Justin Mormouth. Let's get right over to meteorologist Troy Bridges and his Pinpoint accurate forecast.
And once again, we're on an elevated risk of severe weather, a 2 on a scale between 1 and 5, at least not up to a 3 like we were yesterday, but that could change. That's what happened yesterday around the 9 a.m. hour. We got an elevated risk of strong to severe storms. Now, the timing is a little different today than yesterday. It starts a little later, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.-ish on through 11 tonight, because we're going to be watching another front move in after we deal with the sea breeze storms like we had yesterday. So heavy rain, lightning, strong wind, and yes, hail, another big concern throughout the day today. First, though, let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Stephen Montiero.
Trooper Steve's Pinpoint Traffic Report is brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. All your lanes are back open and your ramps now in Seminole County. They are, like I said, they do a great job at making sure this stuff's done, picked up early. So east and westbound, nice and clear, to include if you're hopping on from Reinhardt 46A to I-4 east or westbound. Seminole SO has cleared those ramps, and we are back in business. OBT still closed, though, this morning. Once Sky 6 gets up, I'm going to have them swing by here real quick just to confirm that. So just be careful, OBT and 417, then between Kissimmee and St. Cloud, no problems. Further east along 192, as you're going through Harmony, headed towards Holopaw, nice and clear. And then South Brevard, Melbourne, West Melbourne, Melbourne Beach, doing pretty good. Yesterday, completely different story, but right now, nice and clear. Guys, back to you.
A dangerous scene in parts of Central Florida as neighborhoods again get pelted with wind, rain, and hail that covered yards so much it looked like it had been snowing. As Troy's been telling us, another round of severe and inconvenient weather could roll through again today. And it comes as we're getting a better look at just how much damage yesterday's storms caused. News 6's Mark Lehman joins us live from Melbourne now, and things got pretty rough there, Mark. Mark, thank you. And the weather was even dangerous for first responders. This is video posted by firefighters from Melbourne. They were dispatched to reports of a possible tornado touchdown and had to drive onto roads covered in ice. It looks more like a scene from the north. Many of you also shared videos with us through the News 6 Pin It page. You can get there right now by scanning the QR code on your screen. And fortunately, John Hurley shot this video from inside in West Melbourne. Just look at all that hail. Amazing. Viewer Jay Holstein posted this video on our News 6 Plus app showing the hail coming down in buckets. Remember, you can scan that code and send us pins from your area. You can also get to the Pin It page directly by using the News 6 mobile app.
Just unreal, some of the images we are getting into the newsroom. People in Lake County also had to deal with the storms yesterday, just one day after hail hit homes and businesses there. The ice got to baseball size in some spots. Officials in Groveland say they took over a dozen calls related to the storm, most for lightning strikes, downed power lines, and trees.
Breaking news, Governor DeSantis has just delivered a speech in Israel marking the 75th anniversary of the country's independence. The governor touted the great relationship the U.S. has with Israel and the steps he's taking to combat crimes against Jewish people.
In Florida, we treat anti-Semitism the way we treat racism. And so if it's not appropriate to attack someone on the basis of their race, which is not, it should not also be okay somehow to engage in anti-Semitic tropes.
The governor's speech in Israel is part of a 4-country overseas trip, which began earlier this week in Japan. Meantime, back here at home, the governor's ongoing dispute with Disney is heading to court. The company is suing the state and its newly appointed Tourism Oversight Board, claiming they're being illegally targeted after speaking out against the state's parental rights and education bill. Ezzy Castro has been going through that lawsuit. She joins us now live outside Disney. And Ezzy, the governor's office is already striking back.
We could learn as early as today which death penalty law will be used in the resentencing trial of 2 men convicted in a gruesome mass murder. It comes after the state attorney general filed an emergency motion with appeals court to stop the trial of Troy Victorino and Jerron Hunter. Both were sentenced to death after the 2004 beating deaths of 6 people inside a Deltona home. Those punishments were overturned because the jury's decision was not unanimous. However, prosecutors want to use the state's new death penalty law signed by the governor just last week that needs just 8 out of 10 jurors. The judge denied the request earlier this week.
The remaining finalists looking to become the next school superintendent in Brevard County are set to be on the hot seat today. The school board will be doing public interviews this morning with all 3 candidates. Mark Schneider, the chief of schools in Duval County, Dr. Mark Rendell, the current principal at Cocoa Beach Junior-Senior High School, and Dr. Jason Wysong, the deputy superintendent in Seminole County. The candidates will then attend a community meeting tonight at school board headquarters. Now, the 4th finalist, Hernando County Superintendent John Stratton, dropped out earlier this week after backlash following his district's handling of a teacher who reportedly made threatening comments.
Troy, we've been talking all morning about that storm damage in Brevard. Today, we could be in for even more stormy weather, and it's an inconvenience.
Absolutely. This is definitely going to be an inconvenience if you get damage all over your car. We hate that to happen. Now, I got a lot of folks yesterday asking, how do you have ice develop when you've got warm temperatures in the 80s? Well, you've got to go up into the cloud. And think of this, the cloud, up higher you go, is much colder than the surface. In fact, there's a freezing line where temperatures are below freezing freezing way up in the atmosphere, way up in the cloud. So this is inside the cloud here. We have what we call lift in the atmosphere, that updraft that's pulling that moisture up above the freezing level. So that little bit of rain goes up, it freezes, and then gets heavy and starts to drop. And then after that, it gets lifted back up, gets more moisture wrapped around it, and that refreezes. That happens over and over again until this hailstone gets so large that it has to fall straight to the ground. And that's how hail forms when you're in the 80s at the surface. Here we go today, a chance for hail between 2 and 3 inches, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour or greater. So what can you do to protect yourself from the hail? You can put the car in a shelter, but if you don't have that, you can cover it with blankets. With more on that, let's check in with traffic safety expert. Trooper Steve is Pinpoint Traffic, brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
You know, that's great because so many people, we have so many apartment complexes, condos and stuff. Not everyone has a garage, but we all got some blankets out there. So this is an easy fix. This was sent to me by photojournalist Goose. This was a prep just in case yesterday that some of that Seminole County saw some of that hail. Thick blanket over your car, clamp it down there. It's gonna get wet, it's gonna get nasty, but ultimately, it might save your windshield and some of those dents out on your car if you don't have a garage. Just easy little common sense things, practical stuff that we all have to make sure that our car is safe during stuff like this, because the stuff is crazy. Right now, I-4 at Maitland looking pretty good. East and westbound, your express lanes and your main line looking pretty good. And then east and westbound on Maitland. So if you're headed westbound along that area and headed towards Piedmont, 441, no problems. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. And Trooper Steve will be back in just a few minutes to answer one of your questions.
Coming up, driving in dangerous weather.
Plus, President Biden addressing a big concern about his re-election campaign. The message he has for voters worried about his age.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Care Plus Health Plans.
Fit your fitness tracker and fur babies. It's time to join News 6 in Harbor House of Central Florida for the annual Pause for Peace Walk. Saturday, April 29th at Blue Jacket Park. You'll have the opportunity to indulge in all the fur-filled activities while helping to raise funds to fight a great cause. This will help keep the doors open over at Harbor House and ensure all domestic violence victims have somewhere to feel safe. Register or make a donation today over at clickorlando.com.
Live with Bridget Ellison, Justin Warmoth, Crystal Moyer, meteorologist Troy Bridges, and your traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve. This is News 6 Mornings, getting results.
5:45, time for Ask Trooper Steve, where we answer the questions you send in. And Steve, today we're talking about something pretty timely, driving during a hailstorm.
Insane, and the questions that came in. So today's is pretty simple. Yesterday's storms were crazy. Any heads up when encountering a wall of ice, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. It was blowing my mind when I got to see this. It was getting sent to me by the weather team, Facebook, all this stuff. I have in my entire law enforcement career has never seen a roadway shut down here in Central Florida because of hail, because of just a wall of ice. I even called retired Lieutenant Kim Montage yesterday because I was like, Kim, have you ever seen this before? And she's like, Steve, 30 years I've never seen that. So, you know, there's no instruction, but there's advice when it comes to stuff like this. If you can't see, then what do? We feel, right? So this is gonna sound crazy, but the stuff is out there. So you're out there, we know that the weather is gonna become really intense. You could see it approaching out there. So this is what I advise. You start to slow your speed and get to as far right as you can. That right travel lane is where you wanna be. You don't wanna be out in the left and center, cruising all over the place. And then once it becomes too much for you, I'm gonna advise that you either exit the highway or begin to feel that rumble strip. Get out of that travel lane. I do not want you coming to a complete stop in those travel lanes. God forbid a semi-truck comes that doesn't see that. So you're gonna feel that rumble strip, start to move to the side a little bit, feel it again, and then stay in your car. Too many people get out, wanna see what's going on. Listen, it is too dangerous. Look at this. This is from yesterday out there. So we'll talk about it again in the next hour.
All right, thank you, Steve. And if you have a question for Trooper Steve, let him know on our website. Just head to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve. The coronation of Britain's King Charles III is just over a week away, and Legoland Windsor Resort has created 2 new scenes of the upcoming events. There are miniature versions of the King, as well as Camilla, Queen Consort, the royal carriage, even the King's crown. There's also a scene depicting the coronation concert at Windsor Castle. The official coronation will take place Saturday, May 6th.
How long did it take to put all that together?
That is so detailed.
That took a lot of work. It is gorgeous. Yeah. I love it. I know Kathleen, one of our producers, would love to have all that at her house. She's obsessed.
Not with Legos, but with the Royals.
I'm obsessed with Legos.
My kids will take the Lego.
Yeah. Just don't step on them. Don't step on them. Ouch! We are going to be pinpointing rain and storms again today. You guessed it. A little bit of a later onset, though. We still see the chance for a couple of showers at 2, but really after 3:30 on into 4 o'clock and then lingering into 11 o'clock tonight, the risk of strong to severe storms. So we're going to have the sea breezes come together, and then we've got the approach of a new front that will come through late tonight. So we've got a couple of setups here that will lead to more strong to severe storms. Look at all the red bars. Damaging wind, large hail, heavy rain, and lightning, all the big concern. Let's check on the roads and head over to traffic safety expert Trooper Steve. His Pinpoint Traffic brought to you by Napleton Automotive.
Thank you, Troy. Trying to get to the screen over here. All right, 414 at Hiawassee. Looking pretty good on Maitland Boulevard, to include on Hiawassee. So no issues out here, out on the east side, at least for now. So let's just make sure we're paying attention. Take a little zoom out so we can see everything else. 436, top of your screen, and then 441 through the Piedmont area. If you're headed south, maybe towards the College Park area, or northbound towards Apopka, not tracking anything just yet. Now, it is early, but everyone has safety in mind with all the weather that's been going on, so hopefully we don't have any major crashes today. Kirkman, north and southbound from Old Winter Garden towards the Universal area, nice and clear, but I do have a minor crash here in the city. OBT at Cayley. No delays reported by this, but it is there. You'll see the blue lights as you cruise through. Brevard County still in the clear, 95 north and southbound, running smooth. Guys, back to you.
All right, Trooper Steve, if you've flown in recent months and haven't been satisfied, you're not the only one.
Ahead at 6, the top airline complaints and what you can do to avoid them.
First, though, parts of Central Florida again dealing with damage from wild weather. We'll have an update next as we check our big stories.
Truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, yes, I got huge results. We need to change that banner, getting huge results.
5:56, let's check our big stories. For the second day in a row, storms have pounded Central Florida with wind and hail. Brevard County took the worst of it yesterday with damage reported in several areas in and around West Melbourne. Troy's pinpointing the threat for more severe storms and weather today at the top of the hour.
Disney is now suing Governor DeSantis. The company claims the governor has been unfairly retaliating against them for coming out against the parental rights and education bill last year.
And SpaceX set to try again in just hours for a rocket launch on our coast.
Still ahead, what's on board and why the mission was delayed.
Trust the national award-winning ClickOrlando.com for every live stream news update and exclusive story in Central Florida.